every single day, I get hundreds of messages saying thank you for changing my life, and there's no greater feeling than knowing that I could aid in somebody else's wellness and well-being.
Shayoon, she's an entrepreneur, creator, and renowned LightForce healer who has dedicated her life to empowering thousands of people around the globe. Her journey is one of transformation, resilience, and profound healing. Born in Nairobi, Kenya, and of Indian Pakistani descent, she moved to Los Angeles to pursue fashion, but soon discovered her true calling. After a life-changing encounter with her husband, Alexander, at Coachella, she embarked on a path of spiritual awakening and healing. Together, they founded the LightForce Center for people seeking to heal from physical, mental, and emotional suffering. Their innovative LightForce healing modality has touched countless lives, offering hope and healing where conventional methods have failed. Featured in prominent publications like Vogue, Entrepreneur, Grazia, her work is not only transformative, but also widely recognized and celebrated. If somebody's passing through a trauma or have a trauma, what kind of advice, like a quick advice, the first thing that they need to do?
The first thing they need to do is
welcome back, Alpha Squad, to a new inspiring episode of the Alpha Talks show, the #1 fastest growing show in the region. Today we have truly a special Alpha guest joining us today. She's an entrepreneur, creator, and renowned LightForce healer who has dedicated her life to empowering thousands of people around the globe. Her journey is one of transformation, resilience, and profound healing. Born in Nairobi, Kenya, and of Indian Pakistani descent, she moved to Los Angeles to pursue fashion, but soon discovered her true calling. After a life-changing encounter with her husband, Alexander, at Coachella, she embarked on a path of spiritual awakening and healing. Together, they founded the LightForce Center for people seeking to heal from physical, mental, and emotional suffering. Their innovative LightForce healing modality has touched countless lives, offering hope and healing where conventional methods have failed. Featured in prominent publications like Vogue, Entrepreneur, Grazia, her work is not only transformative, but also widely recognized and celebrated. So today, she's here to share her incredible journey, insights into self-healing, and the powerful work she's doing to create a new earth paradigm. Please join me in welcoming the extraordinary Shayoon to the Alpha Talks show. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. That was a really beautiful intro.
Wow.
Wow.
Happy that you loved it. So Shayoon, usually when we start the episode, we have a standard question where, let's say when we publish the episode, the graphics, the headlines, the title, and everything. And people will think it is interesting. What can you promise them today to gain if they give us their time?
Today I can promise you that you will gain a belief in yourself, believing in yourself, that you have the power within you to do whatever you need to do in order to live a purposeful, meaningful life. Super.
You had a very interesting journey, and I would love to get deep into it. So let's start off. How are you today? How do you feel?
Alhamdulillah, I feel amazing.
Super.
You?
Always great.
Yeah.
Always great.
Always?
Always great. Always great. Who's Shayoon in a nutshell?
Shayoon in a nutshell, I am, first of all, I wear so many hats, but I'm a mother, first and foremost, which is really beautiful for me because I was told that I was never going to have children. So I'm a mother, I'm a healer, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a creative, I'm a musician, I'm an artist. And
let me write. Let me write.
And most importantly, I mean, my main purpose and my mission here on earth is to help other people find their purpose and to completely heal from whatever it is that they're holding themselves back from.
Super. I loved it. Let's go back a little bit to Nairobi, Kenya.
Let's go.
How was these early days?
So I was born in Nairobi. My forefathers are from Kenya. My mom's side and my dad's side. So technically I'm more African than anything else. And I left when I was really young, and I was 6. And then we moved to America. I grew up in America and Los Angeles.
How was the bringing up or getting, I would say, like growing up in Nairobi? How did it affect you now? I come from Africa as well, and of course the culture and traditions over there help me in a way to reach where I am.
Absolutely. I think that being grounded was super important in learning in your very early years. They say your most primitive and formative years are 0 to 6. And so being able to be in nature, I think really is where my passion for coming back, you know, because I just moved back to Nairobi after 30 something years, you know. So I think being around multicultural, like my parents were always around so many different religions. So I wasn't just, you know, I grew up with Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, you know, African Americans, Christians, whatever. And it wasn't until I got to America that I saw actually the segregation, which is really cool to see when you're little. So we always had everybody. We were always, even in school, mixed together. It wasn't just one culture, one religion, one, you know, way. So I thought that was really cool. And I wanted my kids to grow up like that, which is why I brought them back. Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
We have 2.
Oh, mashallah.
2 boys, yeah.
You started in fashion, correct?
I did.
What drew you to fashion?
You know, my love for art and creativity. I grew up, you know, watching different tribes in Kenya, the Maasai, and I always had, and I watched my mother, who's so elegant, you know, and bring in the cultural diversity of India and Pakistan together. And I was just always fascinated with patterns and, you know, fabrics. And I just knew that I wanted to do something in that realm. Fashion, design, jewelry, all of it, all of the arts really captivated me.
So you were in fashion, and then there is I would say, a moment in your life where you met your husband.
Yeah.
And that's, I believe, from what I read, it's a changing moment in your life.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about it?
Yeah. Before actually I met my husband, I was in a terrible car accident, which is why the story is so interesting. And so they told me that my car flipped over. I was burning inside. I was in the hospital for such a long time. They told me I wasn't going to be able to walk properly again, that I wasn't going to be able to have children. And so I was subscribed and prescribed to the medical system, which is basically no solution. And so I left to move to LA after that because I was so depressed. And I was actually studying pre-med before fashion.
No way.
And I was so disgusted by the way they treated me, because even in my therapy for physiotherapy, there was no real help. It was like, here's this pill, here's this prescription, you figure it out. And on top of it, you're never going to have kids, you're never going to have, you know, a real life. And I'm a dancer as well, so I couldn't dance, I couldn't wear heels, and I was in my prime, you know, like 18. So I feel like my life was being taken away from me. So I had so much anger, resentment, sadness, depression.
What age was that?
18.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so I was like really disgusted with the system. And I was like, you know what? I'm leaving. I'm going to go pursue what I really want to do, which is being creative, because that was my outlet. So I get to LA, and fast forward a few years, someone invited me to a festival called Coachella. And back then it was super cool. It was only one weekend. And I ran into this man who was wearing an animal hat on top of his head. And I was like, what is happening? And he asked me to dance with him and breathe with him. And I was like, I've never heard anybody say, hey, take a deep breath. Like, you look a little nervous, you know, it's usually
dance
the opposite.
And breathe.
Yeah, dance and breathe. I'm like, okay, he seems pretty connected. And so that the rest was history. And then his company became like this multi-million-dollar company overnight. They were called Spirit Hoods. I don't know if you remember them, with the faux fur animal hats. And they were designing hoods for like Bieber, Justin Bieber and Snoop and everyone. And so they had this huge convention in Las Vegas. And in Vegas, we went, and I remember I couldn't walk. I was in so much pain, and it was one of their biggest nights. So I told him, I'm not coming. And he was like, I'm done with your story of pain. Sit down and let me just help you heal naturally. And in my world, I was like, what does that mean? Like, what is natural healing, or what does healing even mean? Because I was so programmed in the medical system. And within one session, I was bending over, touching my toes, FaceTiming my parents, crying. And I hadn't even been able to walk properly in years. So I became obsessed. And he showed me a technique called emotional freedom technique, where you learn to forgive your body and speak to your body about all of the pain body that you're technically holding. And so it was just this crazy concept. So from that moment, I became obsessed with wanting to show everybody that they can do this. Fast forward, I have kids. I'm on no medication. And so I took those next 10 years to really study and discover every modality there is in the healing and spiritual space and made my own out of it. And now we have the #1 healing modality.
One session is
around.
how long?
That one was a different, a different modality than what we teach now, but our sessions are 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. That was literally like
A quick note, before we jump into this episode, I find this incredibly intriguing. On the back end of our YouTube channel, it says around 75% of you who watch this channel frequently over the lifetime of this channel haven't yet hit the subscribe button. I just wanted to ask you for a favor. It helps this channel so much if you choose to just subscribe. It helps us invite guests that give you great value. It helps us scale the production and as well makes this show bigger and bigger for you. So if I will ask you just one favor, and if you enjoyed the previous episodes and you're currently enjoying this episode, could you please hit the subscribe button? I love your support. It's incredible to see all your comments and engagement, and we are just starting. I can't wait to go on this journey with you. Thank you so much, and I will repay this gesture by making sure that everything we do on this show makes it bigger, bigger, and better. I'm committed to do this promise. Do we have a deal? Thank you so much for subscribing. It means the world to me. We'll dig into this, but you did some trainings in Reiki and Prana.
Yeah.
What are these?
So Reiki is an ancient form of energy work, and I think it's really, really beautiful. However, I do feel like it's the gateway into like the real depths. You know, it's kind of like it's surface level, honestly, for me, and it helps a lot of people. And I'm not talking, you know, poorly about it, but it's a really beautiful energy healing, and you can change anything by changing the energy of someone, something, your water. You can change the molecular structure of your water by putting intention into it. And Prana and Reiki kind of were my gateway into it, but then I went deeper and I went and studied in the jungle with, you know, the indigenous medicinal work. You know, I went and did nutrition at Harvard. I did everything I could to make sure that I knew what it was and how it was. And I noticed that the key factor and the difference between what we do and what everyone else is practicing is you can go and you can sit at a therapist for however many years, right? And you can talk yourself out of it. But what is the solution? You know, how are you going to get into the brain and remove the emotional traumas from your body? And so we developed that, and it's been a phenomenon, and it's been around 4 weeks.
And a whole 4 weeks.
A whole 4 weeks.
This is in LightForce Center.
Yeah,
correct.
It's the LightForce healing modality.
First of all, what inspired you to create a center around this?
Yeah.
And what the center offers to people and what kind of help?
Yeah, so the LightForce Center, we're celebrating 10 years already now. Mashallah.
Mashallah.
We have a 4 and a 7 week course. The 4-week course, which is really only 8 hours, 2 hours once a week if you're doing one-on-one with Alexander and I online. We always say that you are the healer. We want to empower you to heal yourselves. We are not a guru. We are not your healers. We are not. So many people in the space now want to be the owner of somebody else's healing, or they want to take credit for someone else's, you know, success in their spiritual journey, when you are the one that has the power within you. When you make the choice, that's a yes. So that's number one. We have a 4-week program that shows you how to completely remove all trauma from your system.
Can you give us an example? Very interesting. Can you give us what kind of traumas, what kind of success stories?
Totally. Absolutely.
After 10 years, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we have had some really beautiful success stories lately. Stage 4 cancers. You know, we're getting medical tests back from doctors where the tumors have completely shrunk. Autoimmune diseases like Sarah, you've heard, depression, anxiety, you name it. Like, we've really worked with almost everything at this point. I specialize in helping people with sexual abuse, primarily in children. Lately, it's about 9 out of 10 people have been molested or sexually abused before the age of 4. And I had a terrible incident where my son was almost kidnapped in Bali, which really, you know, forced me into this work, which I'm so grateful for, actually. And so, you know, we have to look at it like people are spending their lives trying to find their purpose, but they haven't fully healed yet. And the prerequisite to the full embodiment of your purpose is to heal first, and then work from that point.
True.
Otherwise, you have so many people running around trying to pursue their biggest dream wounded and broken, and
True.
you get wounded results that way. You know, so the purpose program is the 7-week, and it comes after you're fully healed.
Can you tell us a little bit about, like, let's say, like the 4 or the 7 weeks?
Yeah.
How do you take the people into this throughout this
This
journey?
space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's an online one, because
Yeah.
I know you have retreats as well. We will
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
them. But if it's an online, how the 7 weeks are spread?
So just like I said, we're helping people, you know, heal from stage 4 cancer on Zoom. It's wild.
Yeah.
So we have a specific method. We have a morning ritual. We have an app. So it goes program by program. So number one, most important thing you can do every single day before you do anything else is your morning ritual. You can have a 40% increase in your entire day if you sit down and you check in with yourself before you check in with the world. So you sit down, you meditate. We have specific meditations. We actually we like to call them activations,
Okay.
because it activates everything inside of you to be able to go about your day. And we always say put your oxygen mask on before you're helping others, right? So if you sit with yourself, you check in with yourself every day, you're making a cup of alkaline water, tea with lemon in it. You don't touch your phone at all for an hour
Very
at
hard.
least. Yeah, at least an hour before you wake up, because all those other programs are running. So your mind goes there instead
True.
of inward, right? And then an hour before you go to sleep, no screens either. So you need to train. It's the whole rewiring and
A lifestyle,
reprogram.
kinda.
Totally
Yeah.
lifestyle. And once you start to do that, you can't live without it. So we have specific meditations. Then we have something called emotional mapping, which is the key difference between partial healing and full healing.
Okay.
So an emotional map, we rank everything from a 0 to 10, all your emotional symptoms, anger, depression, anxiety, fear, all of that. And then week by week, you can see how your numbers are dropping just by removing the key traumas. And then we map everybody in your life, mother, father, brothers, sisters, siblings, ex-boyfriends, ex-wives, whoever has had any negative emotional impact in you, your cells hold memory. So even if it was the child on the playground that bullied you when you were 5 years old, if you think back to it and you can still feel that, that means it's in your body,
Wow.
which could be a cause for your anxiety, your
True.
depression, your sadness, you know? And so when you systematically remove the root cause of what is causing your physical symptoms, everything else falls. It's like you pull one thing out and the house of cards falls. So we have a special process that we take you through in the healing, which is in putting you into a state of theta. It's hypnosis, but it's way deeper. It's more spiritual, and really, it's really, really beautiful to see how people can instantly remove the most horrendous things, you know, in such a short amount of time.
How long is the session?
2 hours.
2 hours for 7 weeks?
2 hours for 4 weeks for the
Weeks.
healing. And
Oh.
then the 3 weeks extra, we work on your purpose. What's your vision? What's your mission? What's your purpose? Why are you here? How are you going to get there? Because people most of the time don't know what to do on the other side of their pain.
True.
Oftentimes they're like, oh shit, I don't want to be in this job anymore. I don't want to do what I was doing. I want to pursue what I want to be doing. And so we map out your entire life. What's your goals? How are you going to get there? Finances, but always in the form of how are you going to give back? What are you going to do for the world, you know, after you're done healing? Because we're all here for the greater purpose
True.
of good. Yeah.
True. This is an app and a web platform. It's an online. How people can access it? It's
Yeah.
LightForce.
It's the LightForceCenter.com. And then there's different programs that you can choose from there. It's hosted currently on Mighty Networks. So you can just go to Mighty Networks and type in the LightForce Center. But for everybody that's listening today, I will give you all of the morning ritual and everything as a gift.
Super. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that. Tell me more about the retreats. That's an online thing. Then
Yeah.
you gather with people. I don't know how frequent, but can you tell us
Yeah,
about it?
so I usually do retreats as a kind of a graduation at the end of your healings. I do them a few times a year. This year, which you're coming to,
Done.
June 28th, we are hosting a really beautiful retreat with Sarah Al-Madani, my husband Alexander, DJ Bliss. and we're doing a different type of retreat where we're bringing more people, because I usually do really intimate ones of only the people that have gone through the program. This time we're inviting whoever can come, and we have limited seats, but what we're trying to do is create a safe place for people to come and heal. So basically we're going to do the 4 weeks in 5 days.
Wow.
So we'll do healings every day. We're also going to do, community is the new currency,
True.
right? So if you can heal together, it's really empowering for people to see, oh, this person's being vulnerable. I'll go ahead and scream into a pillow and get this out, you know? And also to feel protected and safe around people who can hear your most traumatic stories. We want to create that space for people because, you know, Sarah and I, we're such good friends, Alexander, and she's gone through our healing journey, and through that, you know, has birthed something beautiful. So it's called the Amara Experience, and it's in Zanzibar, and it's going to be super beautiful. And we're and Bliss is going to be doing a new soundscape to help people journey through their healing process through music, because music is so healing.
To see that and looking forward. That's a 5 days.
Yeah.
Then before we're shooting, we were talking about a center that you're going to do back in Kenya.
Yes.
Tell us about
it. So super exciting news. Alexander and I have never brought on anybody else into the LightForce Center, and we just partnered with Camelia Zal, who's a beautiful soul. And Alexander and I are building the actual center in Nanyuki in Kenya. It's in the works right now. It's a hotel retreat space with a temple and a spa and a school and an orphanage for children. We're going to do regenerative farming. Everything is going to be completely organic, you know, from the earth. And we're just going to bring people to a really luxury experience, but soulful. And there's no other place to do it than where I was born. I traveled the entire world looking for this land, and I just did a full alchemist moment and came right back to Kenya. So we're really excited about that.
When do we expect it's going to be up and running?
In the next year or two.
Wow.
Yeah.
We talked about the healing part.
Yeah.
One of the hats that you wear. There is some songs coming. You sing. Tell us about this part.
I can't tell you too much, but I have really beautiful music coming out with some Grammy Award-winning artists, and I'm really excited to bring. My goal was to always bring this healing to the masses, and I feel like the best way to do that is through changing the meaning of music. Like we rarely hear good, happy, soulful music with nice lyrics and things that people actually have like a high resonance to. Everything is a lot, you know, darker, low tempo. True. And the words that people are saying, you know, words are spelling. So like you can cast a spell just by millions of people singing one song over and over and over. It's a manifestation. True. You know. So my goal in music is to come out with really beautiful messaging that people can recite, that is of the highest, you know, hertz and frequency.
We'll be looking forward to it.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Music is part of healing. Am I correct?
Yes.
Why?
Because music is the sound resonance, the Schumann resonance of the earth comes from the drum, right? To the beat. And so many people can relate to many types of music, especially when it's spiritual music, which is really beautiful instruments, flutes, you know, hand pans, sound bowls. And when you use, you know, even in speakers, there's actual crystals inside. If you open a back of a speaker, it's a quartz because it's magnetic, right? So music and healing go hand in hand, because when you can create a soundscape for somebody, I mean, even in our healings, when Alexander and I are doing healings online, we have a drum, we have flutes, like we're leading people, because when you hear a certain sound, you have this innate feeling and resonance to it. And when you can create a resonance of a high frequency, you know, and you have anything around like 800 hertz, you're operating at a very beautiful space.
True.
Yeah.
Wearing different hats. We'll start with a mother and a lot of projects. How do you balance all this? Or how do you even manage that?
You know, I'm really fortunate to be able to work for myself and create my own schedule. I never compromise I'm a very, believe it or not, hands-on mom. I do everything: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I write the notes. I do all the school stuff. I do all the pickups, drop-offs. Like, I am that mom. And I make sure of it, because and I'm very into conscious parenting, because the most primitive is 0 to 6. When you're there for your child completely during that time, it's going to set them up for life. And my goal isn't to get them to read faster or be the smartest or sit in a box in a school. They're homeschooled. It's to nurture their emotional intelligence.
Sorry, I will interrupt you here, because you said homeschooled.
Yeah.
I want you also to tell why homeschool.
Well, there's many reasons.
Why?
The only other school that my kids have been to is Nadia Zal's, which is Zaya, because I knew her, and I really love the Waldorf concept.
Yeah.
However, my child was almost kidnapped when he was 2, and so there's no way that my kids and the statistics in child rescue are, it's not Dubai. Anywhere else, Dubai is the safest, right? Anywhere else in the world, the majority of people that are being caught for child rescue missions are teachers, and people who are actually doing these things to children are in the care of your child. So I am very strict with that. However, I also believe in homeschooling because I want my children to learn emotional intelligence. I want my children to know how to cook and do simple things like roll around in the mud and be kids. Like, they're not supposed to sit in a box and have homework at 4 and 5. No, hell no. They don't need that. None of that. They don't even in Waldorf too. They don't even teach them how to read till after 7, because you have to nurture the emotional and physical intelligence of a child in order for them to be a spiritual being. It's that simple. The love has to be the foundation, and if they're consistently around that, I take my kid for one day to somebody else's house, and there's like, a bully on the playground, and it's like, why, for what? So it's just about protecting their energy, but also about nurturing their mind, body, and spirit.
I love that. I want to go a little bit in some advices for the people listening to us or watching us. If somebody's passing through a trauma or have a trauma, what kind of advice, like a quick advice, the first thing that they need to do?
The first thing they need to do is recognize that your trauma is only as great as you give it the power. Like, if you give it the power, it's going to have that power over you. If you choose to say, okay, I have this and I want to move through it, you can do it very quickly, which is what we teach. You can literally sit down, figure out where it is in your body, who or what it is that's causing it, map it, like the sentence I told you, and with your breath, move it out. You should never let anything sit for more than 24 hours. Few hours, because that's what causes the disease. Anything physical that's happening to you is because you haven't taken care of the emotional side of it.
Some people, let's say like me,
Yeah.
So I would say rock. Like if you come and tell me, say, do you have a trauma? I tell you, of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not. But 100%.
Always good. Like, how are you? I'm great all the time. Always.
Exactly.
Right?
But 100% I believe there is a trauma inside.
Yeah.
How do you extract it from people?
How do you extract it? Through the mapping process. So
it comes out.
Yeah, of course, because we get it's like a fine tooth comb, and we go in there and we get it. We get every single, the time when my dad hit me when I was 5, the time when I was bullied on the playground, the time when my ex-girlfriend cheated on me, the time when, until you cannot feel it anymore. 10 is the highest, 0 is healed. So we bring it all the way down to a 0, and it's so fast. That's the thing. That mapping is the hard part, to uncover and always say all these crazy things that have happened to you. But if you trust your gut and your intuition, and the most important thing about healing is recognizing that you want to start. That if you say yes, your entire body is going to be like, all right,
and
I'm ready.
Think you're in a safe place.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be supported and comforted the whole way, 100%.
Another thing is, if a person wants to align himself or herself to their true life purpose, what kind of advice would you give to them?
You have to heal everything first. You cannot fully live your life's purpose when you are hurting, when you're wounded. You wouldn't cut your hand and go about your day bleeding everywhere. You would tend to your wound. And the same thing goes for our emotional wounds. You have to tend to those, because if you don't, they turn into physical, and then they turn into your character for life. And the older you get, the harder it is to come out of that character, because that's who you think you are, but who you truly are is what's underneath all the trauma.
Is there 100% person who's completely healed?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes. So many. I'm one of them. It's not to say that things won't come up in your life, but you're not living with all of your past traumas every day, right? So like if somebody pisses me off at the office today or whatever, it could have been traumatic, but I know the tools to remove it from my system. I'm not living with it. Living with your past traumas is detrimental to your health.
100%.
Yeah.
What is success to you?
Success to me is to be in your full power, but not in the power of monetary, in the power of knowing who you truly are, knowing why you're here, what you're here for, and that you are successfully going about your life healed.
True. I love how you put it, because I was saying like 99.9999% of people said like it's not about the money, it's about the freedom.
Yeah.
Like you understand that?
Yeah.
Loved how you put it. What are the key factors that you believe that contributed to your success in the way how you defined it?
Key factors that contributed to my success was I stayed true to everything that that came about, because in this world you have so many spiritual bypassers and so many people trying to help other people, when like coaches and yoga teachers and wellness coaches who are not healed. And so it's really hard to differentiate who you can trust and who you can't in this scene. So I never gave up anything that I loved. I dress like this. I don't dress in like, white clothes and don't wear deodorant, like I'm not a weird hippie. Like I kept what I needed in this same factor of knowing what is wrong from right, how I'm helping, other people through this. And I think staying true and authentic in this process is super important, and really taking care of every person that comes through all the way, and not treating it like, okay, your 2 hours is up. Sorry, next time. No, like attention to detail in every aspect.
You're thinking about scaling the online business or not? But how do you scale? Because a person like you, of course, you said like you care a lot about people, so you do things with your own hands, with your own time. Yeah. But we all have limited time. Yeah. How do you manage that?
So that's a great question. I've come to the point now where my team is like growing and growing and growing, and it's so beautiful because so many people are like, how do I do this? How can I heal? And I can't be on every Zoom call every day for the rest of my life. So I always said I wanted to scale to the masses. So we have an online program as well, that if you can't work with Alexander and I one-on-one, you can do your self-healing on yourself. And so I'm scaling that to corporate, to a lot of different companies and to people, because I want as many people as possible to be in our community and be able to heal.
I love that. But I will need one-on-one. What is your favorite failure to date? 10 years. Because a lot of people think when they do projects, like, oh my God, it's been 1 year, 2 years, I don't get what I want, or I don't reach a milestone that I want. 10 years, that's success.
There was a time where I was modeling, I was on TV, I was doing fashion, I was on E! News, I was a host, I was like the LA girl, And then whenever I discovered that I wanted to be doing healing, I was still 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And my biggest failure, I would say, is that I accepted a job in Bali to do a modeling gig while I was already doing my healing. And that same day that I accepted that job that I knew I shouldn't have done, my son almost got kidnapped from that hotel. So that I think is a great factor of don't belong where you don't belong. Like you got to be all in on what it is that, and trusting your gut totally, like that's why your intuition is in your gut. And it was a no, but I did it anyway because I just wasn't still fully, and I got that lesson hard.
A lot of people don't trust their guts. Yeah. But from my standpoint, the gut, it's the most important thing.
Yeah. You have more neurons in your gut and as the same as in your heart. That's why they always say your intuition and trust your gut.
Over a 10-year span.
Yeah.
What is your, I would say, biggest accomplishment that you're really proud of?
Can I give you 2? 3?
3. Go ahead, 3.
My biggest accomplishment, I feel like, is birthing children naturally. I gave birth to both of my children at home with no help. I'm not into
What do you mean with no help?
Well, Well, I during COVID for my second child, it was just me and my husband. It's called free
Wow.
birthing, where you don't have a midwife, you don't have a doctor, and you just trust in yourself and your body. So that was one of my greatest accomplishments, 100%. And
Wow.
because birthing has been taken from us as women, we're taught that we have to go sit in a hospital.
Mhm.
Why? We're birthing. You know, when an animal is birthing, they're left alone to birth. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to be poked, prodded, and given all this, you know, injections
Wow.
and medicine. Like, you are a woman, womb, right?
Yeah.
Woman. You're meant to give birth. So it's a business. So they've made a business of
Yeah.
babies. Women are signing up every day to get C-sections on the
True.
date that they want. It's like not how that's not nature. You know, your water's supposed to break when
True.
your water's supposed to break. You don't need to
Force it,
interrupt
yeah.
the force of nature, and it's the strongest force, the birthing portal. So
Wow.
both of my kids, one born in Ibiza on a mountain, the other in Bali, and my other biggest success, I would say, is the LightForce Center, because every single day I get hundreds of messages saying thank you for changing my life, and there's no greater feeling than knowing that I could aid in somebody else's wellness and well-being.
The first one is you have a great
You're still
husband.
shocked?
You have a great husband.
Yeah, he was there to catch the
Ooh,
babies every
wow.
time.
Wow.
Yeah,
Do you think anybody can be an entrepreneur?
I absolutely. I think
What are their main attributes then?
you
To
know
be a successful one.
to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to have the drive, you have to have discipline, and you have to want it. And if you don't want it, you know what? Actually, I changed my answer.
Yeah.
Not everybody can be an entrepreneur, because there's so many people who don't they can't see the grander, bigger picture of things. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to get up every day with that drive, and you have to, you know,
True.
you have to put your time in.
Regardless. True.
Yeah. And to be a successful entrepreneur, I think you really have to know who you are and who you're servicing, and who, what, where, your mission, your vision, and your purpose has to be in total alignment for it to be a success.
True, 100%. I'm super interested to know how your day looks like, a typical day.
A typical day.
Yeah.
I normally wake up around 5 or 6 a.m. I'm the 5 a.m. club. I sit. And even my kids, we pray before we play. Like, nobody touches anything. You sit down, and my 5-year-old can meditate longer than most adults. So
Wow.
teaching them that and doing that as a family every day is super important to me. And so I don't touch my phone. I make the tea, and I sit down, and I meditate, and I activate. And then I write down the 3 most important things that I need to get done today, and those are the only things that I focus on, instead of a long laundry list of shit that I need to do, think I need to do. And then I work out 4 times a week with a trainer, and then I make breakfast for the kids. I make sure their lunch is ready, and then I schedule my days out in terms of clients and different projects. So I do healings one day, I do creative a different day.
Okay.
I spread it out, because I can't be in this realm and then also
True.
you know, go into a different project. So, and then I like to end my nights with music and conversation and beautiful food and just simplicity, and being in nature is so important to me. So
Wow.
if I can make it to something in nature every day, then I've won.
How long do you sleep? Like, when the day ends?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'll be completely transparent. Lately, I'm not sleeping that much because I have so much going on, and when everybody sleeps at night is when I can turn on
True.
creatively, especially with children. But I used to be Sleeping Beauty, and then I got pregnant.
Yeah. Done.
You know, but
Middle of the night.
minimum, I minimum 6 hours. If it's a good day, 8. You know, but water is my number one thing. If I'm totally hydrated, 2 to 3 liters a day.
A must.
And I intermittent fast, so I generally don't eat breakfast, or I don't even eat for like 20 hours, maybe.
True.
Every day.
Ramadan rituals.
Ramadan rituals, except for like I actually feel so much better because my body doesn't have any digestion to do,
True.
and I have so much to do that I don't want to get bogged down by food.
Food and
Yeah.
energy goes down.
Yeah.
What are the future plans for?
What are my future plans?
Yeah.
Well, at this rate, it looks like I'm going to be in Dubai every week for the next month. My future plans are to expand and grow the online community. I'm building the LightForce Center currently. I have new music coming out this summer. Like, actually, summer's in like 2-3 weeks,
done.
right? And my future main goal is to create my orphanages and to continue to help rescue children from child sexual abuse.
Why
Day and day.
especially this?
Because when my child was almost kidnapped, they were going to sell him into a sex ring, and there was a big prostitution
Wow.
circle standing outside waiting for him. And it's a really deep, dark. It's the real
Yeah.
pandemic, and that's what I'm really focusing on now, is how to help as many people as possible. Just even be educated on the fact that this is going on our children's games, on Roblox, on iPads. Like, there's predators everywhere, and before that, I mean, alhamdulillah, I have my kid, but like before that, I wasn't as educated, and I feel like so many parents really don't know or want to know, or people don't even want to look at it because it's like, oh, it's such a touchy subject, but we have to help,
100%. We are in the Alpha Talks show.
Yes, we are.
So the nugget question is, how do you define an alpha?
How do I define an alpha? I think it was something that I read the other day, and I knew I was coming here, and it was angular circulation, which is a complete and total alignment in somebody who can completely do. It was a scientific method. Somebody can do so much more as an alpha than not.
No. So we have a section called the Alpha Quickfire.
Okay.
So I'll ask you very quick questions.
Let's go.
So what's your favorite morning ritual?
The LightForce ritual.
Of course. What's your go-to healing technique?
The LightForce cord cutting.
Which book has influenced you the most?
Awakening Your Life's Purpose by Eckhart Tolle.
What's the most inspiring place you've visited?
Ibiza.
I want to
There's a whole other spirit side that nobody knows about.
Okay. Do you have a favorite mantra or affirmation?
I am enough.
If you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Do not give up. Do not settle for anything or anyone.
What's a quick tip to relax?
Breathe from your belly. Expand your belly out on your inhale, and exhale, your belly should go inside.
Cool. What's the most unusual habit in your daily routine that contributed to your success?
Unusual.
Yeah.
Not eating.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
What's the most surprising thing you've learned about yourself throughout your journey?
The most surprising thing I've learned about myself throughout my journey is that I can handle so much more than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you've received?
It's time to let the gates of the kingdom down so everybody can see what's inside the palace.
Whew. If you could teach children one lesson only, what lesson would it be?
Love.
Can you describe yourself in 3 words?
Powerful, successful, beautiful.
Super. If people want to reach you out,
Yeah.
what is the easiest way?
The easiest way is to send me a DM on Instagram. I am not unreachable, as many people think
Yeah.
I am. I actually respond to everything on my own.
Super.
You can also reach me in my community on the app. There's private DMs
so
and messaging.
LightForce app, it's on Apple
Yeah.
and it's on Google.
Yeah, it's on Apple, it's on Google, it's on Spotify, it's on YouTube, everywhere.
Super.
Yeah.
What will be the last message you want to leave the audience with today?
Last message I want to say is the light is the way, and the way is the light, and what's not of the light is in the way.
Bam. That's gonna be
Bam, bam.
that's gonna be a nice reel. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
It's
much
been a
for
pleasure.
having me. You're
I'm
so
sure
amazing.
that everybody listening to us and watching us, they will get a lot of
Thank you for
I would say
spreading our
valuable
message.
information.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very much.
much.
It's a pleasure.
That wraps another inspiring episode of today's show. I hope that this episode has ignited your inner alpha and left you feeling inspired, motivated, and ready to conquer any challenge that comes your way. Remember, alphas aren't born, they're made. It isn't about dominating others. It's about embracing your authenticity, leading with integrity, and making a positive impact on the world. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the Alpha Talks on your favorite podcast platform. Leave us a review and share the podcast with your fellow alphas. Also connect with us on social media at Seif El Hakim. Share your thoughts, insight, and stories of personal and business growth with us. Let's create a movement of alphas supporting one another. The world needs more alphas like you exactly. Until next time, stay bold, stay driven, and stay alpha.